tag team.
We should just let him pick up our conversation. We just record our conversation.
You got it? Alright, this is our martini shot.
Hey, hey. Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to the 2016 Twin Cities Film Fest, hosted by the Shops at West End in this beautiful Showplace Icon Theater. I'm your host, Doug Sidney. We're at day 11 of 11, closing nights. We've had an amazing run, and
Make a wish.
we like to save the best for last. So one of the reasons Dominic Raines is joining us.
I'm flattered and humble. Thank
not
you.
only that, not only is he starring in our closing night film. He's here with his director, Burn Country. It's going to be a scorcher. He's got two other films here as well. What's it like joining us, having three feature films here? Have you had three at a festival before?
Never had three at a festival before. No, this was a first. I had two at Tribeca this year, which the other film, The Loner, is also here.
Yep.
But I have to say, first of all, my deepest gratitude to the Twin Cities and the welcome that my father and I have received here. Just some of the friendliest faces, kindest people that I've had the opportunity to meet, and I've literally fallen in love with this place. So,
thank you. That means the world to us.
I wish the fabric of the love that exists here was dissipated a little bit more into the ethos, into the ether, and around the world.
We just sent it out there, so it can happen, right? So does that also indicate to us that you'd be happy to come back?
I would love to come back.
Great.
Yeah, my dad's fallen in love with this place as well.
That is great to hear, too. When family loves it also, I love that. Yeah. So let's talk to you about your work and the films that you're a part of. Sure. Would you told me that you were so gracious. You said we can go anywhere we want here. I want to put you on the spot. Can you tell me a takeaway from each of your three films? I want to keep this three-film theme because it's such an honor for us to have you on our screen in three different projects. Takeaways from each three.
Takeaways, like
anything. It could be a great experience. It could be something that's a way that you grew as an actor in any of the roles that you can go. You can dive in if you want. You can talk about something that the first thing that comes to mind.
With Funeral Day, John, who is the director and also the lead actor, he's a dear friend of mine. We've done shows together. He sent me the script to take a look at, and I was able to recognize a very layered character that it gave me the opportunity to pull some punches with, and so I guess I'm trying to look for.
No. I love that. I love the fact that what you're bringing up here is you're collaborating again with someone that you've worked with before. Yeah, so there's that shorthand there, and there's obviously that strong working relationship.
I hope that counts for a takeaway.
Oh, it most certainly does.
But I had nothing but the sheer pleasure of being on that film, and that was a beautiful ride. And working with him again was probably the best takeaway I can get from that, because him and I collaborate really well. From The Loner, I think a funny story, my character wears false teeth, right? So I had these teeth made for the film, and during the filming of it, there was a point where I took the teeth out and I gave it to the hair and makeup so I can run off and go do something, and they put it in a little Starbucks coffee cup, and they put it on the counter until I got back. Well, when they did the company move to come and cover the other side, one of the PAs went around and started throwing away trash. So they threw away my teeth. So what ended up happening is a group of people ended up dumpster diving for my teeth.
Because they had to find them.
Because they had to find my teeth. That was the takeaway from that one.
So, literally. So let's talk about having something like that as part of your character. Did that really allow, even as something as simple as teeth, did that really allow you to dive in on even different levels, changing a part of who you are in a role like that?
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you receive a part and you go, okay, I immediately connect to this. I know where this is coming from. And then sometimes you kind of get the external of the character, and that informs what's happening internally. And the first thing I read when I got that script was Persian John Waters, and I kind of ran with it. There's a freedom to John Waters whenever you watch him in his interviews and who he is. He's outlandish, and he is shameless, and I love that part of him. And then outside of that, Danny and I started to build, but I realized that it was the external hard drive of this of this character that was really informing me as I was moving through it, informing me on where he was emotionally coming from.
Yep.
Yeah.
Draining or energizing?
You know,
Both.
I think it's always. But I think the only thing that really gets was, I think it was Robert De Niro that once said, "They pay me to sit around. They don't pay me to act." And I definitely take that to heart, because that's where all the joy is. That's where all the, like, I even heard, like, one time Burt Reynolds came on set, and this is in his later years, and he was very tired and exhausted, and the second they yelled cut, it was as if the guy was full of life and energy, and it was like he was unstoppable. He could probably fly across the room. And you hear those, and then you realize, oh wow, they're when you get into it, and you kind of graze the surface yourself as you move through your career. You get these moments where you get some bigger parts, and you bigger parts to sink your teeth into. You kind of get that same feeling where you realize, man, I can go 24 hours if I were to just do this over and over and over, because there's so much joy behind doing it. And it's also a bit of a catharsis. It's a bit of a release, So
Love
like
craft.
Yeah, it's a stress reliever in some ways.
For sure.
Yeah.
Takeaway from Burn Country.
Oh man, I mean, there were so many takeaways from that film. That was a very special project, very very near and dear to my heart. The first one being that I got to work with an incredible director, Ian Olds, who I think was a big part of who my character became. I think it was just he's an old soul. He's someone who is a gentle soul, but he's kind of seen quite a bit, and there's a depth and a wisdom behind his eyes that I saw from the get-go. That really helped inform where I was coming from. I think, well, I'll get to the other actors as well, but I think one of the things that also informed me, or that was probably one of the best takeaways, is I was given that role 3 days before filming started. So I had read the script, and I had gone over a few things, but I didn't know it was going to come. I was going to get it 3 days before. So there wasn't much to do, and there wasn't, it's easy to overthink things. So I think that the one thing that helped me was going, okay, well, I'm going to step into this thing. I myself, Dom, is going to come into this not knowing anybody. This is going to be a new experience. Well, the character itself is in this new place, and for him, it's a new experience. So I just found all these parallels, and then that kind of slowly guided me, and then the rest was just, letting the heavyweights like Melissa Leo and James Franco do their thing, and me just being there and being attentive. Rachel Brosnahan and Thomas J. Ryan and Tim Niffen and all these incredible actors that I had nothing but the sheer pleasure of working with, and I learned so much from. I felt like a child. I felt like I was just a sponge, and I soaked it all up. I mean, it was one of those rare moments where I was not in control, and I loved every moment of that. Yeah.
So talk to us about these 3 films here. They are spanning genres. Comedy, drama, action, thriller, suspense, all of these different things. What is it like to be recognized as an actor that can step into all of those genres, pull out the life out of a role? That speaks a ton to your ability.
Well, I appreciate that. Thank you. That's very humbling. You always hope to expand, and I think it's ultimately as much as I would like to say that, I just kind of ended up in this thing, I've always had a deep desire to challenge what I know, to challenge what I believe, to challenge how I see things, to be wrong, to fail, to make mistakes. And I've noticed that's always opened a door to a different thing that I didn't expect. It always kind of, and I think that's the beauty of this business, more so the beauty of this craft, is that there's always an unexpected aspect to it. And I think it's always leaving that door open to where anything is possible. And it leads you into all of a sudden doing something that you didn't expect to do, and doing that freely, because you're not putting the pressure on, I have to make this work. I have to perform this. I have to make this happen. Then it just becomes a kind of, it's the idea of surrender,
Yeah.
we have such a deep desire to control where everything is going in our lives, right? Well, it's kind of like art is almost an imitation of life, a reflection of life. So in that sense, for me, it was just letting go for a role it was almost kind of like just let go in life.
Sure.
And just let it do its thing and take you. And it was
Yep.
the same thing here.
Yep.
People are throwing all kinds of things and you're just trying to juggle it all and experience it all and see where it all goes. And that's the excitement, not knowing where it's going to end up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Incredible reaction. So you had a very specific level of self-awareness, probably at a very young age. How did you recognize that acting could be that outlet for you to feel that free and to let go, like you talked about?
That's a lovely question. Well, I've been blessed to grow up in a few different places and come from a country and be born in a country during war. And I grew up with three incredible people, including my brother. But my mother and my father, who never lived, they were never sleepwalkers, so to speak.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
They were always, I grew up with a lot of emotion,
Yeah.
and we grew up with a lot of challenges,
Okay.
and beautiful challenges, but that really, at times put me right through, forced me to use my imagination, forced me to have to get out of tough situations, forced me to have to see things as they were, and sometimes even to kind of disconnect and just observe, and whereas I would want to react, but sometimes, or hopefully most of the times, to observe that situation, and I think one of the things that really that guided me was recognizing human flaw. And that I'm a part of that flaw.
Yep.
And just being aware of that flaw, so that everything just became an awareness of movement, awareness of thought, awareness of behavior. And that slowly started to inform me. But also one of the things that helped me along the way, and it was tough, you don't know it at the time, but I had such a deep desire to fit in. So badly I wanted to fit in, from the different countries that we went to, the different schools I went to, and moving around, or what it was just this.
So you moved around a lot.
Quite a bit.
Okay.
And there was a time where we finally settled down. There was moments where we settled down, but there was times where we were jumping around a little bit, and those times were very interesting for me to constantly be in this situation where I wanted kids to like me. I want to be liked. I wanted to fit in. So then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, you're looking for the same shoes. You're trying to pick up the way these people talk, the way they dress their hair and their outfits and all these, the way they walk and all this. It just became a part of a behavioral thing. Before you know it, by the time I started to pursue this life, it was just like all of that just started to inform me, until it kind of accordioned, and I was like, that's what the whole thing was about. That's what all that was about.
You're giving us a master interview on the craft, because you're talking about yourself and your life and your story, but you're talking about the two most important tools for an actor, which are awareness and the ability to observe. Do you agree?
I would 100% agree with that.
I mean,
yeah.
and you weren't even trying to give your audience what's going to amount to be a free master class on the craft. Dominic Rains, thank you so much for being here. He's got 3 films here in the Twin Cities Film Fest. We're going to see him again here because he said on camera that he wants to come back. His dad said he loves it here too. That's awesome news for us. We're going to be back here on the 2016 Twin Cities Film Fest red carpet. It was a pleasure.
Such a pleasure.